All right. Let's see. All right. Ooh. 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 Hair is looking crazy. Woo. Woo, woo, woo. All right. All right. Well, we're just about ready to dig in. Um, this is the pre-session, pre-party, if you will. Getting ready to start at about 8 o'clock. Uh, and tonight is going to be wonderful. I'll have a couple of announcements before we get started. Just go ahead and hit that share button, and we're going to get started soon. Ooh, I'm so excited about tonight. I want to hear from you in the chat. I need you to say hello. Good evening. Hello. 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 I'm glad that you've made it. You've joined us tonight. You're here with me. Tonight's going to be good. Tonight's going to be good. We're scheduled to start shortly. So invite some more people. Want to get the numbers up tonight. We want as many people that can join us as possible. We don't care. Every opinion, every question, every concern matters. And we want to get it on and popping. We want to be, of course, respectful of everyone that comes into the room and is on the live tonight. So I'm going to ask that you be kind. I'm going to be acknowledging your questions and your statements in the comments. And I'm finishing up on a little flu bug that I had. So thank God it wasn't COVID. So I'm excited about tonight. Come on in. I know I can't always see everybody, but those of you who I can't see, I'm going to be acknowledging you in the comments. So I'm excited. All right. We got a few more minutes. So it's Tuesday Night Lights. I'm sorry, Tuesday Nights Live. And remember, I told you I'm just coming out of having this terrible flu over the weekend. So I'm grateful. I'm feeling much better. Shout out to all the homies taking care of me. Prayers, homemade soup. Someone even delivered me homemade soup, and that was a blessing. I'm kind of disappointed. I finished it yesterday. I had to have canned soup today, but hey, whatever works. So welcome to Tuesday Nights Live. And we want to dive deep into this thing. I want to make a couple announcements. So I won't be here every Tuesday, but the Tuesdays that I am here, I'm going to send out an alert so everyone will know. So you can join me, and I want you to chime in on this topic tonight. Healing and love after breakup series. It's including a lot of deep subjects. So we want everybody to delve deep. I want to announce before we get started. We got a few more minutes to start at 8. Here in Greensboro, North Carolina. The Gospel Symphony celebration is happening with Lady Tremaine Hawkins on Sunday, May 12th, which I believe is Mother's Day. So celebrate your Mother's Day with Lady Tremaine Hawkins. Yay! She's going to be in concert, and yours truly gives the opportunity to sing in the gospel choir, the community gospel choir, to back her up. So I'm so very excited for that. We have discount tickets that you can get through myself. So if you're interested in going, taking your mom, taking a friend or sister, let me know. The discount tickets start at $22. So please, ma'ams and sirs, tickets are selling out. Seats are selling out. So get with me. You can send me a message here. You can send me a text alert, and I'll give you the company administrative number. So you could text me if you would like Tremaine Hawkins tickets. Just say I would like Tremaine Hawkins tickets. And that number is 919-728-6814. So if you want to do Lady Tremaine Hawkins tickets, also a lot of what we're discussing over now this year will be coming out of my newest book, 16 Flavors of Love. You can purchase it on Amazon.com. Get the book. It talks about my journey and what I learned about what true love is. And the great thing about it it really gives insight, some things you may never have thought about before. So I would really like for you to enjoy that. And excuse me, welcome again to Tuesday Nights Live. Oh, give it a few minutes for other people to join us. So I want to say hello out there in social media land. Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, your queen survivor sister, Veronice, also known as V. Michelle, your host for the Healing and Love After Breakup series, Tuesday Nights Live. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me from around the world, either on Facebook Live or as a subscriber on the YouTube channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and go over to the YouTube and where you see the bell and click the bell. Hit subscribe, and when you click on the bell or subscribe link, it's free. You get alerts whenever I go live or have news and information for you to share with you. And trust me, this year is getting ready to get juicy. It's getting ready to get informative. And I want everyone engaged. I want to hear from everyone. And let me give this disclaimer as I always do. I'm not a licensed professional, and that everything I share with you is from my own personal experience and revelation from God. My goal is to build a community of people who want to thrive and help others thrive after surviving a heartbreaking breakup. So that's what this theme this year is all about. And I'm ready now. I've been ready, and I'm just so excited. A lot of you are ready. A lot of you are moving forward, and we want to move forward together. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Last time we met up, I shared with you the statistics that shows that it takes about half the time that we've been in a toe-up relationship for us to get over it. So what that means is that if you've been in a relationship for 15 years, then get ready to take at least 7.5 years getting completely healed from that. So the point is, it takes time. It takes time. So when you see people jump from one relationship to another, and you know that last relationship that they were in was toe up from the flow up, they probably did not take enough time to heal, and they're probably still going to go through some similar things in their newest relationship until they take the time to heal. And can you be healed in less time? Well, the jury's still out on that. I don't know many people who jump from relationship to relationship to relationship that fully heal. I would say that strictly would depend on the individual. So, and of course, the Bible teaches us in Philippians 4:13 that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So the problem comes in is when we use other devices like drinking and sexual soul ties to do it. And that's not doing it through Christ, but doing through one's own self. So can you heal sooner? I would like to say by faith, all things are possible to those who believe. So you got to do it through Christ, because if you do it through yourself or other means, it's not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. So tonight, it's 8:00. Ding, 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 ding. We have a question for everyone. The question for everyone of us who think we're in a good relationship or had a good relationship or get ready to find a good relationship. The question is it love, codependency, or a trauma bond? Because see, all three of these exemplify characteristics of true love. But you got to figure it out. We all have to figure out, is it true love? Is it a codependency relationship? Or is it a trauma bond? So those of you who've been rocking with me for some time know that I'm a domestic violence survivor. And there was a time in my life that pretty much all of my relationships had some type of usury or abuse in it. I mean, for a period of time in my life. But God taught me through the word of God, through 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, exactly what true love is and what it is not. Therefore, I'm no longer I'm without excuse now. I no longer have an excuse. I know exactly what love is, but it is not. And anything less than that, glory to God, based on my book as well, I had to write it out. So I really have to live up to it. I'm without excuse what love is and what it is not. And so once we find out what true love is and what it is not, we have no further excuse. And so a lot of people don't like to be taught and brought into the knowledge of some things, because then we're held accountable. We're responsible for the knowledge and the wisdom and the lessons that we learn. We're then have to be held accountable. We are without excuse. So before I get started, I want to read that scripture, and I'm reading from the New International Version. And it says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. He said it again for these tricky people that we deal with, and or that you deal with, as I don't deal with them anymore. Tricky people that, and y'all have to excuse me, please, please, please. I'm getting over a flu. My nose wants to run now. I was doing good for a while. But, people that quick to get angry and nobody knows, why are you angry? All right. Love is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always preserves. And love never fails. So that, my friend, those are the characteristics of what love is and what it is not. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 8. Read it over and over again. Put it on your wall. Put it in your home. Put it on your mirror, honey, because you need to know what true love is, and it's not wrapped up. It's not 100% wrapped up in the feelings that come with love, because feelings can die. I mean, feelings can also lie. So we don't want to be lied to because of our feelings. We want to know the truth so that we can be free. And that's what the Bible says. You know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So we want to be free in our relationships. We want to be free in our lives, in our businesses, in our homes. It's just a blessing to be free. So we got the behaviors of what true love is from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Now let's go to the dictionary to define what love is. And love in the dictionary, you see, this is the definition the world gives. That's why you got to add some more, because that's probably why Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? That's why this other group say, we've lost that loving feeling because feelings can lie, feelings can be deceptive, feelings can feel one way in 1 minute and then be gone the next. So you can't really go 100% off a feeling. All right. But true love does come with these feelings, but you can't just rely on just the feelings. You got to look at other things to determine if it's 100% true love or codependency or a trauma bond. So the dictionary defines love as an intense feeling of deep affection, fondness, intimacy, attachment, being smitten with a person, having a passion for a person. And even though when you do have the true love operating in your relationship, you do enjoy these good feelings. Again, these same feelings can lie to us when we are in a codependency or a trauma bond situation. Ask me how I know. Because I've been in codependency trauma bond before. So let's talk about codependency. Codependency. It's very toxic. It's very dysfunctional. And in a relationship, the dynamic is just awful. Um, it's where one person assumes a role of giving and in turn sacrificing their own needs and well-being for another person. In other words, you become self-sacrificing. Even though you don't agree with something, you're gonna do it anyway. Even though you feel like, well, they ain't talking to me right, they're not doing it, just doing me right, but you just gonna look over it. Even though I don't like the way they said that, well, I'm just not gonna say anything. That's a very toxic and dysfunctional relationship. I mean, that's codependency. And when you have two people doing it like this, it's like a roller coaster ride that's hard to get off. So imagine, okay, you got one person, okay, the person that's not codependent, okay, they're going to get on each other's nerves because neither one of them are going to be able to fulfill what the other needs in totality. Because why? Because codependency is like, it robs you of authentic love. Authentic love is something that you don't have to feel pressured about. You don't have to feel in bondage about. You don't have to feel hurt in that. That's how you know you have true love. There's usually little or no hurt when it comes to true love. Yes, we will disappoint each other. Yes, unintentionally can even hurt each other, but it won't be a consistent thing. I mean, day in and day out, or week in and week out. I mean, when you see yourself week in and week out having dysfunction and toxicity, then you probably are in a codependency or trauma bond. So you really need to look at that. You're going to get on each other's nerves. Okay. And so when two people are doing this, it's hard to get out of it. You never want to leave the other person, because you don't want to, no matter how much, you're tired and you're frustrated and you're, overwhelmed, and it's just too much. You don't feel like you could go on anymore. But on the other hand, the other thoughts is that I don't want to let them down. I don't want it. It's gonna hurt me so bad if I just dump them. If I just cut this off, it's just I don't think I could do it, and it holds you back from your own life progress. It holds you back. So that's another indicator. If you're not progressing in life, you started out in high school and you wanted to go to college. Now you're in your 20s. You have not gone to college. You're sacrificing everything for this person. Now you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. You have not accomplished the things, barely anything on your list of dreams. You might have even forgotten them and they've collected dust. Well, it's time to dust off those dreams and those desires and ambitions that you once had. A healthy, loving relationship, in it, we thrive. You will thrive. You will grow. You will accomplish so much. And when you find yourself not accomplishing things, laying your life down by the riverside, you might have codependency or a trauma bond. Yes, yes. So when you have codependency, you even ignore your own morals. You ignore your own good conscience to what the other person wants, no matter what it is. Have you been in a relationship like that? I mean, this includes stealing, giving in sexual ways that you don't want to give. Women go through that a lot. Rejecting what others on the outside looking in are telling you about how negative or bad it looks, even when you know in your heart they're telling the truth. If that's happening, and you know in your heart this is jacked up, this is messed up, this is not what love is supposed to be. I'm drained, I'm hurt, I'm overwhelmed, it's just too much. You're probably in a codependency or a trauma bond. All right. And these are 5 core symptoms of you being a codependent person, or the person you're with being a codependent person. Because it doesn't have to be both people, it could just be one of you, right? And we know that 2 is double trouble. So, but the 5 core symptoms is low self-esteem. Um, it don't matter how a person dress, it don't matter how a person smile, they can still have low self-esteem. And if you're in a codependent or trauma bond, you definitely have low self-esteem because you're putting another person before yourself. You're putting the needs of a person before yourself. Now, this is a different conversation. When you get married, that's exactly what you do. But where codependency and trauma bond come into place, while you're doing your duties to care and put that other person first, they're not doing the same for you. So now you have no, it's not an even exchange. But that's another conversation. You're people pleasing. You have difficulty setting boundaries. You're a caretaker, take care of everything and everybody, and nobody's taking care of you. And you have dependency. Like you can't make it, you can't go to bed without this person. He gotta go to bed, she gotta go to bed with me. I can't eat without you. What time you get here to eat? I'm ready to eat. You can't go nowhere without them. I want you to go. You know, all of this. I mean, a codependent person, um, they are very needy. All right. And you may act as submissive, needy, clingy, or try to control others in order to feel secure in a relationship. And that's really where the toxicity comes in. Trying to control and manipulate other people so you feel secure. You know, trying to make people feel bad or feel pressured to doing what you want so you can get what you want so you can feel secure, like you're getting what you want, never mind what the other person needs. And vice versa. You could be the person that is being done to you, that they're just manipulating your mind and your heart and your spirit to where you just break down and just do what they want, just go with what they want, even though it's making you miserable, right? You can have a codependent relationship. You can break the codependency, but both people involved have to decide to take steps to do the work to be healed. Because if you're in a relationship and you've allowed that person to be codependent or they've allowed you to be codependent, y'all, if you're going to stay in a partnership, you both have to partner with the healing process. All right. But to the codependent person, regardless, you have to get broken from it. All right. And if you find yourself trying to stop being codependent in your own self, in your own life, in your own behavior, and your partner is not supportive or helpful to that, it's time to look at, minimum to no communication and separation while you heal, especially while you heal. Hey there, Crystal. What it do? What it do? Yeah, girl. So we talking about this, is it love? Is it codependency? Or is it a trauma bond? So here's some steps to stop codependency, because I didn't want to be on here long. You can work to build self-respect. You can stop negative self-talk and positive affirmation. This boosts your confidence. And I'm going to tell you something about this. I have a friend, and I'm not going to mention any names. I would never do that. But she was married for a long time. I mean, over 30 years. And her husband just decided to go out of town and have her serve with divorce papers. Maybe she saw it coming, maybe she didn't. But I just thought that was just heartbreaking. How can you be with somebody for over 3 decades and now you don't want to be with them anymore? But it happens. It happens. We know it happens. But at any rate, she just couldn't understand that when I would say to her, you're talking so negative about yourself. It would make her angry when I would say that. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to get you to think. And she's like, no, 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 no. Everyone that says that, they're just trying to change me. They don't want to let me be myself. And it's like, No, that's not what it's about. It's like you got to understand when people love you, when people care about you, they don't want to hear you putting yourself down. They don't want to hear you talking, woe is me. They don't want to hear you giving up on yourself. They don't want to hear you, be feeling hopeless and helpless. They want to lift you up. They want to pick you up. They want to encourage you. They want to support you. They want to help build you up. But we all have to realize not everybody is ready for that. So until a person is ready, we can't really force them. So you got to replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. And I would say even before you believe it, you still got to do it because, so a man thinking in his heart, the Bible says, so is he. And what that says to me is that we know what we read, see, and hear, those things go into our mind and it penetrates our heart. So if you write it out, at least write out some positive self-talk, some positive affirmations, and start reading them and speaking them over yourself every day, it becomes you. Now your brain is operating different because you've taught yourself a new behavior to never speak negative, to never down yourself, to never give up on yourself, right? Because you're a child of God and God is with you. Also, you have to stop being afraid of recognizing your own strength. I mean, when you're codependent, you might feel like you're nothing without helping these people. They talk about how women who have been housewives can have a mental crisis, a midlife crisis, because all they know is taking care of the children and the family. And when the children are gone, now they're lost. So they have a midlife crisis, so to speak. Well, but you've always been great. You were born with greatness inside of you. You were born with creativity inside of you. What are some of the things that you used to dream about doing? You might have to go back to high school. What were you thinking about? What do you want to do? And if you got breath in your body, it's never too late. It's never too late. Trust me. How do I know? Because I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do, but I always was codependent or self-sacrificing or had a trauma bond. So you can recognize your own strengths, recognize your own talents, recognize your own purpose, your passions, what you like, what you want to do, what drives you, what you want to accomplish in life. It's more to accomplish than taking care of children and taking care of a family. There is more in life than that. There is. And I've seen older women, other women who have taken on the initiative of finding themselves aside and apart from the family. I don't know if you all have watched, how many of you have watched Good Times? And remember when Florida was going off and acting all whatever? And she finally broke down. She went to a support group for women and she realized, she had nothing but taking care of the kids and the family. And now that the kids were moving on and growing up, she didn't know what she was going to do. Now it was time for her to find something to do. And at first her husband was like, well, you doing enough around here. You just need to keep doing what you're doing. But she stood up for herself and he had to realize, you're right. You have a right to want to do things too, and I support you. All right. So that's love, where you get the support and the encouragement that you need to be all that you can be in balance with your family. So, and set aside time for things that matter to you. But you first got to figure out what matters to you, right? But you have to set aside time for those things. So that's very important. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you also post any questions, comments, concerns on this. And we're going to go on quickly to trauma bond. So we just covered codependency. Sounds familiar? Yeah. So trauma bond. Let's find out what trauma bond is. Let's find out what that is. All right. It's a strong emotional connection that can develop between an abused person and their abuser. It can also develop between two people who have experienced trauma who come together to comfort one another. Sounds familiar? You know, you're hurting, they're hurting. They just had a bad breakup, you just had a bad breakup. They're going through a divorce, you're going through a divorce, and then you come together thinking you get ready to comfort one another, and it's usually based off one experiencing physical emotional abuse. I mean, how did we get here? How do I think that we both going through the same thing and we get ready to help heal one another? Really? Really? I think like a cold, if I'm sick and I get near you, you about to be sick, potentially. So, same thing. Like, you gonna take two sick people and put them together, and now we gonna comfort each other and heal. I don't think so. Um, you know, if you're doing individual work, it may can happen. Anything is possible. We talked about that, but it's really tougher. If you're not intentionally focusing on being healed, you've got to be healed. And sometimes you're so involved in the emotionalism of it all that you forget about the point and the work that needs to be done. You've been hurt, you've been traumatized, that needs some attention, that needs some healing. And there's 7 stages of a trauma bonding cycle. 7 stages, and 7 is the number of perfection from the Bible. So 7, you go complete this trauma bond by these 7 things: love bombing, trust and dependency, criticism, gaslighting, emotional addiction, loss of self, resignation, and submission. So trauma bonding is, I recently met a guy, and back in January or February, and the guy seemed to have a lot of the qualities that I was interested in. Finally, somebody who loves God and loves church as much as I do. Everybody know I love going to church. I love praise and worship. I love choir. I love preaching. I love the fellowship, right? Like some people like going to the club. I don't go to the club no more, so I like going to church. That's my club, right? And God was nice, and he was doing love bombing, he was doing gaslighting, he was being criticism. That's another one. He was criticizing me. It was like it was something weird with him, and so this, I stopped talking to him after the first date, and we were going to have a second date, and some complications came along with that, and I just felt he wasn't ready, and I just said, I don't need a new male friend, because if you're friends with someone of the opposite sex, and then you're attracted to one another, you like one another, that's not a healthy situation, because how are you going to keep your hands off one another? Some people don't want to keep their hands off the other person, but me personally, I don't want to be touchy-feely with somebody I believe I'm going to have a future with, right? It's good husband material, somebody, and that determination takes time. So he is not going to be found out by the first date, and we've already discussed feelings can lie. Just because I'm attracted to you physically or emotionally or personality wise or whatever, that doesn't mean that we're a good match. So Anyway, and so I went out on a second date with him, and something similar happened. We went out on a date. Um, we missed each other's call the night the next day, and then I didn't hear from him. Like, it was like 3 days went by, and I was 3 or 4 days went by, and I was just like, why haven't I heard from this guy, right? So I thought something happened, excuse me, to the guy. Went to the church, went to this particular service, and he was sitting there alive and well. I said, oh. And so I texted him and I said, well, I could see that you actually are not an honest person and you really are not ready, like I stated before. And he proceeded to call me, but I told him there was no need for a phone call because I don't want to hear love bombing. I don't want to hear gaslighting. I don't want to hear lies. I don't want to hear excuses because except you in the hospital bed or dead, I mean, it really was no excuse for him not to communicate with me, right? He asked me for a second chance. He said he was interested. He said he was ready. Give him another chance. Another chance at what? So anyway, it didn't work out. But that's how you know this bond that's trying to happen is probably not going to be, it's probably going to be toxic. It's not going to be healthy, right? Because when you're ready, you're ready. So if you've been entangled with a trauma bond, if you're currently involved with a trauma bond, and especially after domestic abuse, the way that you break it, there's a few things that you can do, several things you can do. Initiate divorce, gather your resources, figuring how you're going to do life without this person, working with a trauma-informed therapist. So getting involved with getting counseling, therapy, spiritual counseling, whatever you need, whoever you can trust. Go minimum or no contact, because if you keep listening to the person, they're going to keep sucking you back in. You're never going to get out of the cycle of being in a trauma bond. Joining a support group, working on your own self-worth. So when my last serious relationship, I had lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my car. I lost my place. Lost my sanity. I lost so much. And I had to rebuild myself. And when you build yourself back up, you gain self-worth. You start feeling good about yourself again. You start seeing your accomplishments, and that's how you build self-worth. You make out a plan. You say, these are the things I want to accomplish. Then you find out, what do I need to do to accomplish it? And how am I going to do this? And then you start one by one knocking things off of the list until you accomplish that thing. And as you start accomplishing, you accomplish one thing, and then you start feeling good about yourself even more. You start thinking good about yourself even more. You start believing I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God is helping me. God is my, helper. He is covering me. He is with me. God is in control. I'm none of those things that person said. I'm none of those things that person did to me. God is in me. God is living in me. God is moving through me. God is blessing me. And that's how you start building up your self-worth. And I'm going to tell you, once you build up self-worth, you got that self-love, you have self-awareness, you know where you come from, you know where you're going. Nothing can get in there. Nothing can make you, unless you just make a decision to allow it, you'll never be in a codependent or a trauma bond situation again. So I hope that you've enjoyed the talk tonight, and I pray that something was said that can help you. Remember 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. Please read that again. Please recognize that scripture for what it is. It has helped me so much. It has helped me so much. Remember, you can get my book on Amazon.com. You can just search Varanese, Varanese, 16 Flavors of Love. And If you would like to go to the Mother's Day concert in Greensboro, North Carolina with the Greensboro Symphony, oh, it's going to be amazing. I have access to discount tickets starting at $22, $22.50 for Lady Tremaine Hawkins. Oh, it's gonna be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful concert for you, your mom, your mother-in-law, your aunts, your aunties, your grandmom. Everyone will enjoy this concert. And so the whole family will enjoy. You can bring your kids, you can bring everybody. So let me know. I gave you the number. And you can also send me a message here on YouTube or on Facebook, Berenice Michelle Morris. I love you all so much. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm there for you. Until we meet again, hey, it's your girl, Berenice, also known as V. Michelle, your Queen Survivor sister. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. Remember, without God, a lot of things are not possible, but with God, all things are possible to those who believe. All right, signing off. Have a good night.